Hey guys, this is Allison from AllyKatzkreations. How are you? I'm hanging in. So today I'm going to go with another episode of the Anunnaki. I came up with more information as I keep deep diving, and I might close it out today. That book is really good, but there's some things in there that doesn't really say when they're coming back. But I do have another book of the same author that gives some hints, so I might read off of that a little bit. But some speculation before we begin. A large chunk of the US has been getting lots of storms and cloud cover. And yes, there are times you can see the moon and you can see the stars and you can see the constellations, absolutely. But it's like they're hiding Nibiru. And the theories popping out that I'm noticing is like the last time Nibiru came and swung into this dimension and swung around, it like devastated Tiamat and Mars and the Earth. So if that's a real like thing, I don't know what's going to happen this time around. I don't feel indifferent. I don't care, to be honest. If we get wiped out, we get wiped out. Like I'm going to a higher ended place. But I doubt that. It doesn't feel like, why would they want to wipe us out when they created us? And there's benevolent Anunnaki. There really is. There's good Anunnaki who don't want to see us peril. So I have my thing on that. And then there's also the Galactic Federation and the Confederation. That, I mean, you could see crafts and things up there. You just have I have to have the eyes to see. And if you don't believe, just type in UFO stuff, and there's a lot of like current day, even on TikTok, current day evidence of a lot of things happening. A lot. I don't have TikTok. That's another thing that I can't put on my phone. Yeah. But I really want to thank, before I get into everything, just say thank you to everybody who's been very super supportive of my work. No one took me up on wanting to come on and talk about Anunnaki, but none of my topics are ever closed, final, and put a kibosh to it. So if anybody really has any information, and it doesn't necessarily need to be on an Anunnaki, it could be on the Emerald Tablets, it could be the Keys of Enoch, it could be on the Enuma Elish, it could be on Dolores Cannon, Barbara Messiniak, spirituality, it could be on anything. My channel is to help everybody awaken and to connect and to resonate. There might be things you do not agree with, and that's absolutely fine. There's no judgment. I'm just speaking my opinion, my perspective, because it's healthy, right? If you keep everything within and you're not letting your knowledge out, it doesn't do any good for humanity, because someone will resonate with it. So if you're shy, we could just put a cute puppy or kitty cat or animal. I love sloths. I do. I love sloths. You can put a picture up. You don't have to show yourself if that's something that freaks you out. But I would love to have more people join me and talk about these amazing topics. So if you're interested, I mean, I'm not here to, you know, I would love to grow my page. It's growing slowly, and that's fine. It's about the quality, not so much the quantity. And I try to put videos because of my financial situation. I did not get what I was owed yet from my former job, and time is ticking. And I bet you I'm gonna have to wait even longer. So I'm being screwed over in left, right, and center, and I'm freaking out. But I'm trying my hardest to find odd jobs and to sell some stuff off, and not having luck there either. So I'm gonna keep doing this until the lights and the internet shut off. So it's kind of why I'm doing these almost every night and every other day. Now, I'm just adjusting my screen. Give me a second, guys. Because, oh, here we go. Nope. So annoying. Hang on. Sorry, guys. I'm reading off the slides because the articles are this big, and I absolutely do at some point need glasses. Can't afford that either. So I have to put everything in like a slideshow format. So that's easy for me to read. So this is the Anunnaki gods are coming back, Pentagon's biggest secret. It says Cosmos, published December 24th, 2019. And this I got off of www.monkeyyandelf.com. So I'm going to read you what they have to say. According to certain researchers and authors, the Anunnaki must return to Earth to fix what they had done wrong. In order to accelerate a spiritual awakening and the evolution of human consciousness, the return of the Anunnaki. Well, I say I believe that for many different reasons, but they're not the only ones. Oh, no, no, no. They're not alone in that. I believe they're being helped by numerous star systems and races, because if something happens here, it reverberates through all dimensions and time and densities, and the ripple effect is not kosher and not good. So they're not alone. And I've read about the Great Awakening since I was a little kid. I read a lot of books, and especially growing up, that theme was a very heavy topic, but it would be in fictional books. So I never made the correlation until later on in my life. And I'm like, oh, they're talking about now. Yes. So they created us. The good ones don't want to, and again, good, bad, it's the polarity of service to others and service to self. But our free will was infringed. So they have to kind of help us, because it was the Greys and some reptiloid races, not all, who came and did a lot of bad things without our consent and without our knowledge on the massive scale. There were people who knew about this stuff. This book goes into a lot of the gray stuff, but I might leave that as another something to explore, because I think that that's a whole nother can of worms to open up. fun can of worms, but a can of worms nonetheless. And I feel like starting this off from offshooting from the Enuma Elish and some of the Zechariah Stitchin work, it's heavy stuff, absolutely heavy stuff. And there's a lot in, and there's really a lot of stuff in there, but a lot of it, again, doesn't really answer the question that I'm having. Is it like, are they coming back on the 22nd of February? Are they coming back this year? Well, if you look up in the skies, the answer is most likely yes. And the fact that the other races are here to help us, absolutely. And there's a lot energetically happening in the world. There's a lot of uprising happening in the world. There is a lot of people starting to go, I don't feel right. My ears are buzzing and I'm getting all these weird dreams and I'm starting to see things that I ordinarily won't see. I don't know. You're awakening. And again, if you're not feeling those things, don't feel like there's something wrong with you. Listening to this video in itself, you're awakened. Okay, hey, everybody does it on their own frequency and vibration. Everybody will get there eventually. I had to say that because a lot of people do get upset. Like, but I'm not feeling that. What is she talking about? Well, everybody ascends differently and everybody feels symptoms differently. We're all individually unique. Back to the article. The Anunnaki could return to Earth, according to a recent interview with Stan Deyo, who said NASA and the Pentagon believe the Anunnaki will return with arrival of the planet Nibiru. I believe that. There's a lot of pictures. But wait a minute, Nibiru, the Anunnaki and all these things really exist. In Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki were a group of good and evil gods and goddesses who came to Earth and eventually created the human race. The existence of ancient extraterrestrial civilization, the Anunnaki, who came to Earth in the distant past, has long been disputed by researchers. Yet its existence and its arrival on planet Earth is well documented in many ancient texts. That the history was completely ignored, according to the numerous authors from all over the world. Truth. Curiously, there are certain African cultures that believe the extraterrestrial beings have been visiting the Earth for 10,000s of years. For example, the Zulu legends speak of a time when visitors of the stars came to dig gold and other natural resources. These mines were worked by slaves created by the first people. Is there a Nibiru? Oh, I don't like this newspaper by far. According to the Washington Post, a celestial body possibly as large as the giant planet Jupiter and possibly so close to Earth that could be part of the solar system has been found in the direction of the Orion constellation by a telescope in orbit aboard an astronomical infrared satellite in the USA. All I could tell you is that we do not know what it is, said Jerry Neubauer, chief scientist of IRAS. R. Harrington wrote a very interesting article in 1988 Astronomical Journal. Harrington suggested that there was a planet 3 or 4 times the size of Earth, and that was in position 3 or 4 times further from the sun than Pluto. According to the mathematical models that were presented, it is believed that planet X, or Nibiru, has extremely elliptical orbit of 30 degrees. In 2008, Japanese researchers announced that according to their calculations, there should be undiscovered planet at a distance of about 100 astronomical units that is up to 2/3 size of the planet Earth. Many would say this suggests that a planet like Nibiru can exist. It is believed that the average life expectancy of the Anunnaki was 120 SARS, which is 120 times 3,600 or 432,000 years, according to the ancient texts. The list of Sumerian kings is perhaps one of the most important ancient texts that perfectly describes a moment in history in which literally the gods ruled for thousands of years. After the rain descended from heaven, the rain was Iridug, and Iridug, Alulim, became king, ruled for 28,800 years. Alajar ruled from 36,000 years. 2 kings ruled for 64,800 years. One of the most interesting details on the list of Sumerian kings is the fact that the earliest list describes 8 kings who ruled the earth for a total of 241,200 years. Since the original royalty had descended from heaven to the moment of the Great Flood, which swept the earth, and once more the kingdom was lowered from the sky after the flood. According to Greg Barden, an American author of New Age literature, who wrote about the phenomenon of 2012 and was noted for his claim that the Earth's magnetic polarity was about to reverse. We only have 20 active codons of 64 existent. So one has to ask, why did the source of creation limit our genetic abilities and by inactivating most of our DNA? So it is said that our DNA has been limited. And what I find limiting about it is that one can argue that mRNA, and they call it junk DNA. But if the Anunnaki are creators, again, in creators' allowance for this experiment to work, because if they're the creator gods, they created us. It's going to be the same concept if when you ascend and you get to the highest of the densities and you become your own creator god, and you're right, you could create a universe, you can create a planet, you can create anything you want within the divine law. So they created us, but in the image of what creative wanted. So, but then why would we have junk in there if they wanted us for slaves? We still need to be strong and to last long and have stamina and all that nonsense. It doesn't seem plausible to me. But I feel that that's been manipulated. One theory is that our DNA was limited by the Anunnaki to keep us in submission, control, and conformity with our Anunnaki teachers. Many believe that the Anunnaki are the ones who have controlled us for millions of years and know the true genetics of man. Many authors claim that the Anunnaki, who may be the gods mentioned in numerous cultures, who promise to return someday, have complete control over us as they are the creators of man. I'm going to read this person's name, but The movement that I follow, I'm iffy with him. Just my personal opinion. And I don't know. A lot of people make a lot of claims. And unfortunately, like, these are things you really can't back up, because until we're all able to channel and to bring down our star family, we really don't know the truth and how correct people are. Just putting that one out there. Like, I've channeled once, like, on video. You know, I put the lights out and I did a channeling, but I won't post it. But how do I know I wasn't infiltrated? And how do I know if, you know, there's no evidence? You're just listening to me go at it, right? Simon Parks, an UFO researcher, says we have 12 strands of DNA, and each strand is related to a specific galactic race. Hypothetically, if we can find a way to ignite the latent codons in our DNA, we could practically do anything, like heal all the people on the planet instantly, as well as our planet. It, to some extent, we're already doing that as a collective. We're already doing that, I believe. I mean, it is a part of the Great Awakening. I believe we're doing that already. And yes, I have lazy eyes. And I know when I'm rewatching my videos, it's really annoying to watch my eyes not like do what it needs to do, but I still see. Just putting it out there, because I'm sure some people look at that and like, what the hell? A Pentagon whistleblower recently came up with an incredible incendiary statement. It seems that the Anunnaki gods are returning to our planet. Being our creators, Anunnaki possess very advanced knowledge of the human DNA. They could control and manipulate the entire human race. It seems that they fed on the negative energies resulting from fear. That could be. But they did leave, which opened up another can of worms. The Draco and the Greys, well, the Greys, not all the races, but a lot of the smaller races, they were taken into a hive mind control by the Draco. And they manipulated a lot of us. And I believe they can control us, because the Anunnaki left, leaving us screwed. And they've been in control up until a certain point, which was recently. And they've lost their control. So if that is the case, and all, you know, like Dr. Michael Sala and Elena Zanon and a few others who can channel are talking about that what they call them, the baddies, the Nibiru and the Sea Card, they left, or they're being taken down in a sense or sent somewhere else because their devious ways are no longer wanted here. Well, maybe that's time for the Anunnaki to come back and make them leaving us vulnerable and make up for all the damage, because we're technologically very behind. Socially, we're very brainwashed. And a lot of people here are not. You're breaking the matrix, you're breaking the system, which is amazing. But I'm living in New York, there's so many people that just they think I'm crazy. They are okay, like they're out of their minds. And again, it's kudos to you if that's what you did, not judging on that. But you're not seeing that your rights and liberties are being stolen right underneath your feet. And you're just going along with the 1938 plan of tyranny. I mean, that should be your choice to do those things. It should not be mine. And it's against the Nuremberg Code. So, I mean, again, people are not reading their history. And a lot of the history lesson I did a few videos back that I had to put somewhere else clearly tells you what happened, at least to America. And now we have to awaken from our slumber, and we have to like put our feet forward, especially if they're coming back. So I got this couple of tidbits from www.Anunnaki.org. In 2002, the 12th planet of Nibiru physically entered into our solar system, falling in line with Stitchin's 12th planet dialogue. After entering in 2002, Nibiru went on to influence the orbits of the planets in our system, changing their axes and poles along the way. Mind you, there is a pole shift happening on Earth. And the tectonic plates are moving. I mean, like, if you don't believe me, go look at the geographical, I forgot what site it is, but if you look up like earthquakes around the world and volcanoes and stuff, you'll see there's a lot of hits. And a lot of things are happening. I mean, there's another reason for the other stuff happening. A lot. It's good. There's other things ending. It passed close enough to Earth that it influenced our oceans for several years, eventually leading to devastating tsunamis, a new awakening of volcanoes around the world, and influenced definitively the climate and the Earth's axis, which slowly moves, thus altering the position of the physical and magnetic poles. Initially, the planet's orbit came closer to the Earth's south pole and sun and was not visible from Earth. But in late 2012, Nibiru's oblique orbit, which was 35 relative to the solar equator plane, proved to be quite visible, and many pictures and videos were posted online questioning the new star in our skies. But my question is, in 2012, CERN, the little oopsie, didn't mean to put you in another dimension. So did we actually zip into the dimension where Nibiru first is? Because in other readings that I've put in the episodes, it does say it's in another dimension. And did we zip into their dimension? And were we zipping in and out of timelines? 3-dimensional timelines. I'm not talking about the multiverse and the octaves and the frequencies and all that fun stuff. This questioning. The short answer is because of NASA. They decided to question the true orbit and return of Nibiru to our solar system. The US government had urged them that it was required that they deny the existence of Nibiru, see, in order not to cause widespread panic throughout the world. Deceivers! NASA then prepared a very well-built simulation that projected the orbit of Nibiru. See how deceptive these little jerks are? Transformed the simulation in video and sneak release on the internet. The simulation done by NASA computers presented visually not only the displacement of Nibiru in its orbit, but also the orbits of all the planets of the solar system. I'm not going to go into the flat earth or the not going into it. With the gigantic size, it has very strong gravitational pull, and it influences our oceans and all the magnetic fields. So in 2011, when the Nibiru approached the sun, it being forcibly pulling at the sun's core. The core of the sun is only 65 times that of Nibiru. Thus, the solar activity in relation to explosions and solar storms have increased so much that the Maximo Solar started into 2011 and was not stopped to this day, and this was written in 2014. The emissions are in the ultraviolet solar radiation level, range between 0 to 16, are currently at 15, and the normal between 9 and 10 units. This was caused by the approach of Nibiru towards the sun. Keep in mind that the sun also influenced Nibiru. I have my little Ethan over here by my feet, keeping me nice and warm. But he sounded like he was going to have a hairball. And I do groom my kitties. Because of the magnetic and gravitational intensity of Nibiru, it introduced the sun in a way that it initiated the reversal of its magnetic poles. The same reversal is also happening here on Earth, gravitational pull and magnetic fields. In order to perform this reversal, these two forces acting together are required. This mutual attraction between the sun and Nibiru increases Nibiru's travel speed and velocity. In essence, it was catapulted with accelerated speed away from the sun. The process is known as the Slingshot Effect and was used by NASA to throw the Galileo probe toward Jupiter. The probe passed twice by Earth's orbit, then the orbit of Venus, with significantly increased speed, was finally redirected towards Jupiter. The gravitational effect of acceleration so much that its contour to the sun's orbit was much larger, but faster than the misleading NASA simulation. Based on this premise, it is our estimate that Nibiru will pass back around us in 2018. But here we are, it's 2022. On this return, Nibiru will come from the North Pole of the sun and Earth, so it'll be widely seen in the Northern Hemisphere. In this new return, it will be faster than when you came from outer space into our solar system. This distance of Neptune to the sun is highly convenient for Nibiru because it needs a certain distance to reaccelerate from, again, tangent to the sun to get to the restart longer orbit of 36,000 years. So the question is, if it didn't happen in 2018, or did it, where is it? Or were they held back? One can only assume, because nobody was talking about Nibiru, but now a lot of people are talking about it. It's coming back. People are like taking photographs of it. They're like, well, why is there two suns? That, and everybody, that's lens flare. That's lens flare. Not everything is a lens flare, folks. Coming from the artist here. Okay, I'm going to pull up the other portion that I wanted to read from something else. Give me a minute. Okay, I found it. I'll tell you where I get this source at the end because I have to do a lot of scrolling up. Not fun, but I will give credit. And it's the same person who wrote Maximillien de Lafyette. What will happen in 2022 when the Anunnaki return? Many things at so many levels: physical, spiritual, mental, multidimensional, vibrational, intellectual, and religious. That's for sure. So I'm just going to put a little precaution out here. I don't agree with everything that is mentioned here. But I find it interesting, so I'm going to read. As mentioned in previous question, the Anunnaki are returning in 2022 to clean the earth. This will happen through a cataclysmic event, like that of which can hardly even be imagined by us, but it is child play to the Anunnaki, who have done it all before on other planets many times. The procedure will take a very short time, a few minutes only, but is, as always, elaborately and securely planned by the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki will bring a bubble of special substance resembling antimatter, but not destructive, and cause it to touch the Earth's atmosphere. It will be exactly the size of Earth. As soon as the two circles touch, all the humans that have been lucky enough not to be contaminated by the Gray's DNA, and all the animals, plants, and those inanimate material which the Anunnaki wish to preserve, such as beautiful and historic monuments, art-filled museums, and great libraries, in addition to homes of those saved, will be stripped from the earth and absorbed into the bubble. The fish and other animals who need water will be taken to a created ocean within the bubble. The birds will have plenty of places to perch on. Nothing will be hurt or damaged. The humans and animals will feel nothing. They will be secure within the bubble. It is unlikely that they will even retain a clear memory of the event because the Anunnaki would not wish them to be traumatized. Then the earth will be cleaned of all our pollution. For the lack of better description, try to imagine a huge vacuum cleaner removing all the landfills, eliminating all the plastics, all the dirt, all the smog from the air, and all the filth from the ocean. In a few short minutes, the earth will be sparkling clean, a pristine planet, the way it was when the Anunnaki had first created it. How they dispose of the garbage is not clear to us. It involves a very high technology, which we simply do not yet understand. The beautiful clean planet is now ready to be repopulated, and in an instant, the humans, animals, plants, and inanimate objects would be returned to Earth. Anunnaki guides will be there for the humans who would naturally need quite a bit of help to adjust to a new life. In the meantime, the issues of the rest of humanity is resolved as well. As mentioned in previous question, there are 3 groups of humans the Anunnaki will attend to. Those who are not contaminated have already been taken back to the clean planet. Those who are heavily contaminated and who are engaging in cruelty, greed, and violence for their own gain have no chance at all. They will simply be destroyed, and there is no need to even think about them any further. What is left are those who are the medium level of contamination and the lighter level. These groups have received a warning to mend their lives 14 years before the event in 2022. Some of the people of light level contamination would have completely cleaned themselves through their efforts, and therefore would have been transferred as clean beings into the bubble. Others have remained lightly contaminated. Those in medium level contamination who obviously require more work would be divided into those who had succeeded in the cleaning and had brought themselves into a higher level contamination. Those who remain medium level, who do not do the work of cleaning properly, will be destroyed with the heavily contaminated ones. Those all that remain now is a group of light contaminated level, and if they wish to save themselves, they must go through the abs or stargates into another dimension so that they could be reevaluated by the Anunnaki. If they can be cleaned, they go back to Earth. If not, they will live out their lives in another dimensions where conditions are much like our own Earth, but the cleaning. They will lead a normal life, but will not be able to reproduce, so eventually they will die out. For those who will go through the BAB abs, the procedure is extremely difficult. BAB abs, I don't know what that is, it exists everywhere. There is a huge magnificent abs that are usually regularly by the Anunnaki to cross from one dimension to another, but there is also small ones located in the street, in the trees, in the apartment buildings, in your own home. You named it. They will become visible when the bubble clashes with the earth, and those who were not taken into the bubble or were not destroyed must find their way into a Ba'ab. All Ba'abs look the same. They are a circle of shifting light of rainbow colors, very clearly defined. People wishing to enter must hurl themselves against it, and it will open and absorb any number of travelers. As soon as you enter, you are already in another dimension. It is extremely frightening, a deep blackness illuminated by the explosions, thunderbolts, and streaking comets. So there's a lot of different theories running around right now about what is actually going to happen with Ascension and who's going, who's staying, and what's happening. It's all a state of consciousness and soul agreements, because we do get those. And it's up to Prime Creator where we chose where we wanted to go. But that's like a lot of fear mongering. I don't buy into a lot of this, and I don't agree with a lot of this. Do I believe they might be cleaning the earth? I think that like that, it can happen. They have that technology. They do. They have that technology. Not only do I have an Ethan, I have a Morgan over here. Okay, just for argument's sake, if this does happen, putting this out there, there is a very high level of stormy whoosh-like sound. The noise can be deafening, and the traveler is swept with violent speed forward, unable to resist or help the move, and constantly twirl and twisted in one direction and then the other. Just things to note here. Those who cannot be cleaned will be sent through the to the dimension we have mentioned before, where they will live out their lives, but will not be able to reproduce. The Anunnaki do not wish to kill them, since they are not inherently evil like the heavily contaminated ones. But they cannot let them reproduce the bad DNA. The Anunnaki do not indulge in sentimental pity and are fully aware that any form of evil should not be allowed to exist. Say hi, Morgan. I'm not evil. I'm just a loud cat. Other interesting things to note here. Again, I don't agree with all of this. The very first thing the Anunnaki will do when they land on Earth will be the reorganization of the human race, readjusting the structure and substructure of our societies. I'm just going to say and put this out there. We are already doing that on our own, with or without their help. We have galactic help. It's not just them coming and helping us clear out some underground tunnels and restructuring governments and our money system and the way of we are going to be transforming. We're in a renaissance. I said this many, many times. We're in a renaissance period. We have to claim back our sovereignty. All the lies, all the deceit, they're coming out. And it's not just what took place in the last 8 years. This is going back to the first of our time. We're here to make a change. We came here, we graduated to be here, we're here. I don't necessarily believe that they're the ones who are adapting that, although if they are our creator, we are a part of them, so it could be plausible. But I don't think I think they're already here, to be honest. And we're already seeing a lot of this. The Anunnaki believe that without a new social order, humanity will remain in chaotic state and violent conditions. Absolutely. The Anunnaki will explain to the human race that the God we worship on Earth was an invention of the primitive minds of the early human race. The Anunnaki will explain to the human race that the idea of one God, master of the universe, originated from the belief in many gods in the early days of the history of humanity, but for several reasons, the number of deities shrunk to one. The early prophets and some of the founders of great religions saw the Anunnaki as gods. For example, Enki became Yahweh. And before Yahweh, he was all sorts of things such as Adon, Adonis, Melkart, Zeus, Brahma, you name it. So the foundation of religion was a fragment of imagination of primitive and uninformed and confused minds of the human race. However, something good came out of it, such as the Christian charity, the Jewish Hizikah, the Buddhist nonviolent philosophy, the Islamic protection of the orphans, and forgiveness. All these virtues, although they are no longer in use today, were a positive aspect of the invention of religion. There will be no more worshiping centers. All that will be replaced by the concept of God as all that is. All the famous stars of religion, such as televangelists and those people, those who advocate ideologies such as rapture, will be eliminated. They go into how they're going to protect us from the grays. How would the human mind benefit from the Anunnaki connections? What the Anunnaki will do will not impose on your new beliefs that bring chaos to your mind and or confuse you in your daily transactions. The Anunnaki will delete those beliefs that were created by institutions that deprived you physically, mentally, and spiritually from evolving, such as a belief or concept that without confessing your sins to your priest, you will not be absolved from your sins and you will not enter the kingdom of God, and so forth. Those are the concepts that have controlled the mind of humans for centuries by demonstrating scientifically and physically what really works and what really is the honest truth for humanity. The human minds will be given the opportunity to see the whole truth, all based on scientific explanation. And since the mind we evolve by conquering new scientific frontiers, the spectrum of the human intelligence will increase indefinitely. Therefore, the human mind will have an extremely developed center of knowledge and will tap into the depot of collective intelligence, and consequently voluntarily selects the fits that meets the physical, spiritual, mental, and intellectual needs of the person, aka social memory complex. Okay, here we go. What will happen on Earth during the final clash with the Anunnaki? As I explained in previous answer, the Anunnaki will start the cataclysmic event of 2022. All the clean, uncontaminated humans, all the animals, the plants, and the inanimate objects wish to preserve by taking them into the bubble. I'm not here to scare anybody, and I don't wish to do that. I will give you the book information if you're interested in reading it. I think it has a lot of points that most likely could happen. But again, they're not necessarily fully in control because the Galactic Federation and other confederations and other species are also watching and helping. And it's like they're not the end all be all of beings that are going to come and like save humanity and then like have a mass wipe off. I mean, they already tried to wipe us off already on the human level. And it's just going into like what they're going to eliminate, like everything that the truther movement is talking about is very similar to what Maximillien is putting here. Like a lot of like jobs and positions and things will no longer be needed, and that's why in the ascension community people are asking like, well, what is my purpose? What am I, what, you know, if I'm doing this and money will no longer be needed, then what do I do? Well, I mean, I've always claimed I'm not a master of anything, but I know a lot of different skills. So I can always choose one if one doesn't adapt to this new world that we're going in. I mean, I would love to have a bookshop with old books and banned books and like a spiritual shop where people who do create things can sell their stuff out of my shop. A lot of this goes into a lot of in-depth religion. Yeah. So we're going to end that there. The book is Maximillien de Lafyette, 2022. What will happen to us when the Anunnaki return to Earth in 2022? Question mark. So yeah, that's this book is more of like a question and answer from different people. And I'm assuming there's channeling happening there, just like Ra and the other books that I read. I mean, a lot of it's very plausible that it could happen. I don't know what the other races are planning on doing for themselves. Or if we are just going to be left alone because our governments have capitulated to each other to have this world peace and transition very slowly into a new system of living that will slowly be rolled out each year. Things will get better, new jobs will be created, free energy will take place, the advanced technology will slowly come rolling out, the disclosure will happen with aliens and UFOs, and then they will make first contact. You know, and they, from what other people have channeled and record, they don't want anybody to, besides the people who've been infiltrated, go. They want everybody to understand there's much more to life than what you've been told. And there's a lot of things that have been hidden from us and a lot of things that were lied to distort everything. And it will take some time for the mass population to understand all that's being presented. Granted, I don't know if that's the exact way that's all going to go down. I believe that consciously a lot will happen. I think it's all about a matter of mind and energy. But I feel most of the majority of the planet will be fine. And if cataclysms do happen, they happen for a reason. But there's nothing to sit in fear with, because it could happen or it couldn't. And again, timelines keep shifting. So manifest what you want to be doing. Where do you want to be? If you're in an industry, you're in a job, like I was in a job, and I don't align with the thought process of how they manipulate little children, I was there to protect them. Well, then how would I make the educational system better for children? Because I do believe children do need to go to school, but I could reimagine school to be something where they're learning the basics, but eventually we won't need to learn because they'll already be here. But then there would be spiritual school to teach the kids how to do all those fun little tricks. Just a thought. So I hope that all of you enjoyed this fun series. I'm going to probably end it there, but it never ends because we're not there yet. So still, if I find really good information, I'll do more and more videos on any one of these topics. If anybody wants to come on again, you're more than welcome to. I'm very happy to have you. I feel like this information, whether it's eye-opening, another perspective, needs to be brought to the forefront. And then if it happens, now we have an idea of what is going to happen. And if it doesn't, well, that didn't happen. It's okay. I don't resonate with that. Go to the trash can. That's up to you. But we are in a time where things are changing, and it's good to know the options and the scenarios that could take place based on other people and their research. So I just find it very interesting and noteworthy to spread to everybody. I am sending each and every one of you love and light. If you have it within you to help me out, that'd be super appreciated. Again, it's the rearing to the middle to the end of the month and February short. And I would like to keep going and continuing to do more readings and more of everything that I enjoy doing. Hard to do that when I have no income. And we're still in the 3D matrix. So if you have it within you to donate with the love donation, I'd appreciate it. If not, hit that like button, subscribe, and share if this connects with you, and maybe someone else might need to hear it. Doesn't hurt. That's free. I get it. But if you can help, that'd be super appreciated in any way that you can. My heart and my soul goes out to everybody who has contributed to me and has helped me during this hell of a process of transforming. Nothing for me comes easy. I don't know why, but here we are. So I hope each and every one of you has a blessed day. Enjoy. Don't sit in the fear frequency. Open up your hearts. Ask some deeper questions. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.